Well, thanks so much for joining us. Senior citizens aren't the only vulnerable group when it comes to cyber fraud. According to recent data, millennials and Gen Zs are equally, if not even more so, vulnerable to cyber attacks and are even more likely to lose money as a result. Even tech-savvy young adults fall victim to these scams. In this segment of Making Sense, we are talking with Forest Area Loss Prevention Supervisor and fraud expert Silver Brautigam about the types of scams affecting young adults most and how to watch out for those red flags. And Silver, thanks so much for joining us. The information provided there kind of came as a surprise to me because we often think that our older viewers need to pay extra attention to this, but that's not necessarily the case, right?
Correct. No, not at all.
That's interesting. All right. So what makes teens and young adults especially vulnerable when it comes to cyber fraud?
Yes, thanks for having me. Sure. The main thing that makes them more vulnerable is that they're more connected. Obviously, the younger generation is always on their phones. So the statistics say that the 69% of Gen Z claim to always be connected to the internet compared to only 32% of the baby boomers. So the scammers have more access to them. They're more likely to think that they're not going to have this happen to them. They are a little naive. So that makes them a perfect target for scammers. That and top of fake prizes, cheap prizes, quick cash, things like that. They think that they're competent with their technology so that they let their guards down more often.
Yeah, a little bit of confidence is always dangerous in life, right? Like,
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter whether it's this or anything. But all right, so what kinds of online scams are most commonly targeting our kids and our teenagers and the young adults out there?
Sure. There's quite a few of them. We'll touch on a couple.
Sure.
Employment scams, rise in offers for jobs online. That seems to be the big market. Anything you can do to work from home and anything that you can do that's easy, quick job that they think they're going to get something. And then what happens is they end up getting a check and they're what's called a money mule. They'll get this check and they'll cash it and the check is not good. So then they'll owe the credit union or their banking institution that money back. But unfortunately, that money is already sent to the scammers and then they do whatever they're going to do with it. Online purchases, shopping for things, they're more likely to use a credit card to purchase things online, where I know the older generation, myself included, we're a little more skeptical. We're like, no, we're not putting our information out there. But it's nothing for anybody else younger to think that nothing's going to happen. It's a card, what could happen. Cryptocurrency, that's a big one. That's something that's still a lot unknown for many people. Mm-hmm. So there's not a whole lot of information on how to use that safely. Social media scams, Facebook, TikTok, all those things. And then, they get gift cards and then they send them to their friends. But what they don't realize is that their accounts are going to be compromised here. So this leads to more damage done than what they're really signing up for. Gaming scams, free coins, free skins for their games, free downloads, things like that, where they urge you to send your debit card information or personal account information. And then lastly, scholarship and student loan scams, which isn't one that I've had a whole lot of experience with, but they promise guaranteed scholarships and free fees on things like the FAFSA, but they get your social security number. They get your account numbers, putting you at risk for identity theft.
Wow. There's a lot out there. Good advice and good things, not only for our teen viewers that are watching, but also the parents of teens and young kids to know about. So are there some red flags that seem to be common that teens really need to look out for, like when they're online shopping or responding to social media ads?
Absolutely. Prices that seem too good to be true are always too good to be true. It's exactly what it states. Gift cards or different various forms of payments, Venmo, Cash App, any of those, Zelle, Facebook Cash, anything like that. Those are a huge red flag. Websites with poor spellings, typos, poor grammar, blurry images, user on the bar that you type in your website, if it doesn't say HTTPS, it's not secure. So if it's missing that S in there, that is a red flag.
Okay.
Clicking on links is a red flag. You should never do that.
Yeah, that's something that any generation is probably good advice on that one. Okay, you mentioned that sometimes you mentioned when some of the things that are up there, like easy money job offers and side hustle scams, are those common, and why might those be particularly dangerous for our young viewers?
Yes, because with the young viewers either leaving high school or still in high school, they don't know how to navigate getting a job. Finding a job outside in the market nowadays is hard. So everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to have that easy stay-at-home job type situation. So it makes them very, adamant about this is real, and it never is. Anytime that a job asks you to send them money or a loan asks you to send them money as well, then that's always a red flag because you're not going to pay to get this job. You're not going to pay to get a loan. So it's
But
just
again,
easy.
it's one of those situations where there aren't enough miles on the tires of young people to know that. It sounds good, and I hate the thought of somebody filling out financial aid, or we make bad choices when we're desperate, right?
Absolutely.
That's a kind of a common thread. But when when scam artists prey on people that just want to go to college, just want to pay for college or something like that, that somehow hurts a little bit more. So how can you identify theft impact that a teen or a young adult has who may not even realize that credit is being used in their name?
Because scammers can open credit cards and loans using their stolen information. So to identify it, they just really have to check their credit reports, which isn't something that they would know.
No.
But if you check your credit report, you sign up for any kind of site like Equifax or it's called annualcreditreport.com. They'll give you notifications if there's a new inquiry into your credit file. And you may have to have a parent's help with that, but that you can put a freeze on those as well. So that's the biggest impact, that they don't even realize that their credit may be ruined before they're even out there purchasing things.
Yeah. All right, Silver, I'm gonna put you on the spot here so that I understand. If you have a young person, does everybody have a credit report?
I don't know if they have a credit report, but if they start having inquiries on it, then it's going to generate a credit report. Correct.
Okay. Got it. So if suddenly it's like, well, I don't think I should even have that kind of stuff on there, that is good advice. And you can do that. That's free, right?
Yep. Annualcreditreport.com, Equifax, any of those websites that I'm trying to think of the one off the top of my head and I can't. But you can put a freeze on all of your 3 credit bureaus for free. Yes.
And that could be good advice. And parents, if you think you should do that for your 8-year-old, you can do that for your 8-year-old, right?
Yes. Credit Karma. That was the one I was thinking
Credit
of.
Karma. Yeah. Yep. And boy, that's not bad advice, but it wasn't on my radar when my kids were little, that's something I need. I watched my own, but I didn't even think to do that. So that certainly makes sense. Are you hearing about this in real life, and are people coming in and telling you this at the credit union?
I have not seen it with the teens. However, I do see a lot of teens and younger children get taken advantage of in their accounts or overdraw their accounts because they don't realize how their debit card works. So it's a real thing that they just don't pay attention.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So if our young person becomes a victim of fraud, what steps should their parents, their caregivers take right away? Like what's the first thing they do when suddenly they realize?
Sure. So stopping communication on Facebook or any of the social media platforms is key right away. Reporting that to that social media platform right away. And then having your institution either freeze your accounts if your information was shared, they need to be frozen. So we as a financial institution need to know right away. And then, having a credit alert like we just spoke about or freeze put on your account. And then reporting it to the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Yeah. And Mary, one of our viewers, wrote in, watch out for the bots and the algorithms. 50% of the posts and responses are made to make you react. So stay safe out there. Yes. That is true. I imagine whether it's a young person or an older person, it's these people's job to get good at taking your money. They're really, really good at it, right? It doesn't matter the age. So they know what they're doing. They know how to trigger you or get you to buy in, right? It doesn't matter the age of the victim. They're skilled.
They are very skilled. It is a full-time job. In fact, I often refer to the movie The Beekeeper.
Okay.
because it lays that out. They sit in the cubicles and they prey on people, and they have, with AI now being advanced and the technology being more advanced, they can speed up how many calls they can get out in an hour, and they can make them fast, and all they do is robodial.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. And they're the scams are getting better and better as we all learn to check for misspellings, as we all learn to check the actual web address and everything like that. They're reacting to that. They're cleaning up some of that stuff, so they're perfecting their awful trade. And so we really need to keep our radar on. And it doesn't sound like there's any age that's too young to have that radar up, right?
There is not. No, too young or too old. It doesn't matter. Sometimes we look at an account and say, oh, they've been a member for X amount of years, but it just really doesn't matter. You get in one desperate situation and you get that too good to be true offer. And you just, you never know what somebody could do.
It's the optimism of youth, though, Silver. Like they don't know that it's too good to be true, right? So that's an added challenge, because a lot of us that have been around know that it's too good to true, but you can't pass it up. Young people may not know that that's not how the world works. And again, if you have fallen victim, and we've done a lot of scam stuff. If you fallen victim, don't suffer in silence, right? Speak up, get help. How important is that?
See something, say something. And that's why we're out there in the communities educating, and that's why we're doing these types of things, because there's no shame in it. What you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And if there's a young person watching this, if you don't speak up, there's no guarantee that you've stopped the financial bleeding at that point, right? Like, sometimes you have to take steps to make sure it's bad, but to make sure it doesn't get worse, right?
Correct. Because we have to take steps. So if you owe us money or something happens, we can't collect on a minor, obviously, but it could potentially affect your future, your ability to get an account anywhere else.
That is good advice. All right. So if people have questions about not only protecting themselves, but protecting their kids, go on in and talk to Silver, right? Talk to your credit.
Absolutely. Or any financial institution will step up to the plate and help you, member or not.
All right. Silver, I can't thank you enough for your time today and that important information. And parents out there and young people, you're not immune. Keep your eyes out on it, right?
Correct.
Silver, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.